Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
Good evening, our fellow lovers of love. Thank you for joining us tonight. Sorry for running a little late. We had some camera issues. Now we have helicopter issues. But I never complain about that helicopter. That's the Life Flight helicopter. And we never complain about it. No. But even though you were early tonight into the studio and we run up late. So that's just, we had camera issues. So we're going to have to...
Well, traffic was good on the freeway tonight.
Traffic was good on the freeway getting in here. There wasn't much delay.
No.
Now, what we got a show tonight, we're going to talk about anger, how to, recognize anger, how to deal with it. And, for me personally, I notice oftentimes frustration, I don't know if it leads to anger or is misidentified as anger. Maybe a little bit of both, depending upon the situation.
That's a tough call, frustration or anger.
Yeah, because it can manifest, it can outwardly manifest kind of very similar.
It looks the same, yeah.
It can look very similar. So it's a very interesting, and it's hilarious that your O'Doul's there is the same color as the green screen. So you've got, a strange, you've got the world's only purple O'Doul. You're giving away our trade secrets. Hide that behind the thing, man. After I just tell everybody about it. So that's what we're dealing with tonight. We've got issues about anger. Then we've got some interesting questions. What we're going to deal with the relationships. You put these in the order you want to deal with them? Parenting?
Yes, I did.
Sex? We'll never get to work then.
Well, we could skip around.
All right. So anyway.
We
so
can
that's
do
what we've got.
We want.
So that's what we've got on tap tonight. And so what do we want to start tonight, Lovey?
Well, I think we should start with recognizing anger signs. Because it helps out how you're going to deal with it unless you recognize it and you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So some physical signs of anger include clenching your jaw, grinding your teeth, a headache, a stomach ache, rapid heart rate, sweating, especially your palms, feeling hot in the neck and face, shaking or trembling, dizziness. I've had most of those, and my favorite is I'm standing there clenching my arms, and I'm saying, but I'm not angry.
I'm not angry. Yes, you clearly are angry. You may have very right to be angry, which is a different question, but don't tell me you're not angry. But often can be its frustration, and it kind of expresses itself as anger, but it might not actually be anger. That's kind of those ones where it may not actually be angry. It's just you're so pent up with frustration that it appears as anger. So that one might actually be a trickier one. You may not have actually been angry. You may have just been incredibly frustrated. Those are the ones kind of the things.
No, I was pissed.
We'll see. At least now you can admit it. Okay, so where are we at?
So emotionally you feel like you want to get away from the situation, irritated, sad or depressed, guilty, resentful. Why are they doing this to me? Anxious. You feel like striking out verbally or physically.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to smack them.
Well, we're human, right? And for whatever reason.
But violence is never the answer.
Whether we're using talk to God or evolution. Who's the evolution guy? Names I'm escaping me. I've been trying to think about his name instead of looking it up. I've been
Darwin?
There you go. That's the evolution guy. Thank you. I couldn't think of his damn name. I kept coming up with Freud, and I said, no, that's a different discussion. It's, maybe a discussion with Freud might help with some of your anger, but why we have anger and why it's
He'll just blame your mother.
and why it's a kind of a cross-cultural human phenomenon, right? It is what it is. Yeah, you'd have to talk to God or Darwin, I suppose, right? Evolution or creation. Either way, we're this way.
Well, Jesus got angry. Says in the Bible, he went to the temple. He saw all the money changers and the people making money off of sacrifices to the temple, and he turned over the tables. He threw a fit.
Yeah. To anger is human. The question is, why is anger human? Why is being angry part of being human? It clearly is. The question is why. And if you have to answer that question, again, that goes back to the question, don't know why we're this way. God knows, or, evolution knows. You could probably work it back, how it's evolutionary advantage at some point in history, and that's why we're this way. But for us, trying to make our way in the modern world, anger isn't always useful. You can sometimes channel it into a useful endeavor kind of thing, but it's not inherently by itself useful. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can do that other ways. You don't need anger to do that.
I knew a guy one time. His wife had cheated on him, ran away with this guy, and he decided he was going to kill him. So his buddies got together and said, okay, well, you don't want to shoot him. That's too quick. You want to do something nice and slow. So this guy he focused on learning karate. He was going to kill him with his own bare hands. And in learning karate and in learning the philosophy, he came to the realization he didn't really want to kill him.
No, he was just angry.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's, his friends were very wise. All right, yeah, have to go train yourself to do it. It's actually a very wise thing to do, because by the end of the process, you will no longer want to do it. Because it wasn't really him. They knew him better than... You have to know your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... But that was wise. No, you don't want to do it quickly. You want to have to go and say, all right, so I'm going to... Yeah. And if you go through that training, you're not going to want to, because part of the training is learning to control your emotions. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what are these? You also notice the rubbing your heads, cupping your fist, pacing, sarcastic.
You're always sarcastic.
Losing your sense of... Well, I don't think these are... You can't pull one out and say, see.
Really?
Craving a drink, smoke. Yeah. And because there's lots of other reasons.
Raising your voice.
Right.
Beginning to yell, scream, or cry. I've been so frustrated I've cried before.
Yeah, see, not all of those are necessarily our anger, but you hang up a few of those together, they start hanging out and becoming friends. you may want to, have a discussion with a therapist. That's kind of my go-to answer with these kind of things. Oops, that's the wrong banner. Speaking of that wrong banner, I've got to go update that page. We haven't updated our social media pages in forever. We're bad about that since the new job. All right.
Okay, so now we identified it, so what are we going to do about it?
What are we going to do about it, my lovey?
Well, we have 25 tips to help you stay calm.
Imagine that. Lubby has a list. There's always a list.
Tips are good.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying there's always a list. I just find it kind of amusing that there's always a list. All right, so what do we got?
Okay, well, first count down or up to 10. But if you're really mad, you can start at 100.
Uh-huh.
So what happens is your heart rate will slow down. And your anger will likely subside.
Yeah, well, you're starting to control yourself, and you're breathing, or whatever you can do to, because that's the next one. Is take a breather, take a breath.
Yeah, breathe. Your breathing becomes shallower and speeds up when you're angry.
Yeah, because you're starting to control yourself, right? It's not just controlling your anger; you're controlling your whole body response. Is essentially what you're trying to do at this point. Take a walk.
You can go for a walk, ride your bike, or hit a few golf balls. That's a good one. Really whack a few.
Yeah, let that energy, because that's what anger really does. It creates this energy. Get it out.
Okay, you can relax your muscles. You know how you do it. You start at the top of the head, and or you can start with your feet, and you clench your feet and then relax. Then you tighten your calves and relax. Then you tighten your thighs and relax. And you do that up your whole body.
Okay.
And remember to take slow, deliberate breaths. This takes a little bit to do.
Yeah, you can do the mantras, right? You can repeat the words, use mantras, anything that helps you focus. Stretching is a good one. Again, it helps that injection of hormones and chemicals into your muscles need to get out, and stretching helps that. Mentally escape.
Go into a quiet room, close your eyes, and practice visualizing yourself in a relaxing scene. Your happy place.
Here's a good one. Well, you play some music. Sometimes your happy place is playing some music, right? Whatever it is. Whether it's you push the music or, whatever you need at the moment. But here's the good one for all of us, is to stop talking. Sometimes the best thing to do is to shut the...
Oh my, yes. It took me forever to learn that. I think I was like 40.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. Learning when to just shut your own trap so you don't stop making it worse. Because sometimes you feed yourself. And you're your own worst enemy at that point. You're not thinking straight. You're going to say things you didn't want to say and going places where you didn't necessarily want to go at that time. So don't.
No, I just keep it all in my head. I have wonderful conversations in my head. I'm quite brilliant.
Yeah, but you want now in a relationship, you want to make sure that you can express those emotions, later when you can be productive with the expression.
Well, yeah.
But for that moment when you're not going to be productive with those.
I know I'm angry, so I know I'm not thinking clearly.
Yeah.
My thinking is just a little bit distorted.
Yeah. Even if you're 100% correct in your anger, the anger still is going to distort.
Yeah.
So it just is. And so not making situations worse is one of the things about
And
managing
9
your anger.
times out of 10, it turns out okay. It just wasn't. It usually is a misunderstanding.
It's kind of what life is. Next one is take a time out. Again, it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about,
Sit away from others.
Yeah, same thing as shutting up. just sit down and shut up. But it's so self-imposed to sit down and shut up. No one else is telling you to do it. You're doing it for your own good. So, you get to choose. Next one is take action.
Write a letter to an official. Do something good for someone else.
Yeah. Write in your journal. If you work through the written word, probably getting those emotions down, it can work. Finding the most immediate solution.
They give the example, you might be angry that your child has once again left their room a mess before going to visit a friend. Just shut the door.
Yeah, deal with it later. Rehearse your response.
Oh God, I do this and a lot.
I think that ends up creating unrealistic expectations. So I want to be careful with that before I suggest that one.
Actually, when I take my time and think about it. I start out rather complicated, and then I realize that's not going to really work very well.
That works better.
And then I end up, over the course of the day, I end up simplifying it down from 5-minute speech down to
Look,
about 2 sentences.
Camera's starting to wig out again. Anyway, we'll pester through. So for those of you who are watching this, we apologize for the camera deal. It's wigging out on us. I think it's fallen over one too many times thanks to our cat recently. Not that the cat is the only one who knocks it over. It's just it's been knocked over a few too many times this last week or so because of the cat. I've knocked it over plenty myself, so you know I've done my own damage to it. I think the cat has finished it off. Is what I think is happening. Okay, so for those watching on video, we apologize for the things, and we're gonna have to kind of go a little faster through this. All right, so you got picture stop signs. Picture something different is good. Flip up your routine. Talk to a friend. There you
Always.
go. If you've got someone who can be supportive and knows how to walk you through your anger, it's good to talk to them. Laugh. That's good. Even if you laugh at yourself, laugh at the situation, is actually a good way to kind of, turn it into a war story rather than a tragedy. I think is a good one to do.
Yes.
Practice gratitude.
Take a moment to focus on what's right when everything feels wrong.
Yeah, and like this right here, it could have been worse. My bone it was broken nice and straight, no displacement, heal nice and easy, no bones, no nothing, no pins, no plates, no nothing goofy. So I consider myself lucky rather than another thing. It could have been worse. It could have easily been worse. And so always remember that one. Because it could always be worse, and oftentimes you're the cause of making it worse. So be grateful for it's not as bad as it could be. Set a timer.
Give yourself time before you respond.
I have a personal thing. I never hold grudges past 24 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll hold a grudge for 24 hours. And sometimes, it may stick a little longer than that. But realistically, past 24 hours, I try not to hold grudges. Because then I'm the one carrying it around. I don't like to carry them around. So, I like to travel light.
Travel light.
It's my theory. You know this. You've seen me pack for Hawaii for 2 weeks or whatever it was. I can get it into one bag. Just saying. All right, set a timer. Again, now it's up to write a letter.
Write a letter or email to the person and then delete it. Do not send.
No, don't send it. Post it on social media. Post it on Facebook and Instagram and do all that kind of stuff. No, don't do that. I was being sarcastic, by the way, just to let our viewers know that I was being sarcastic about that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, don't post it. Keep your private business private. There's a reason people don't post all their business on social media. It's not that people want to present some false front. It's they don't want their dirty laundry aired in public. It's not a false front. It's just, why would you do that? I mean, you're going to put signs up on everything that's going wrong in your life in your front yard? Why would you do that? You just don't. So don't do this, it's the same thing. It's not that everything has to be positive, and it's, there's leeway there, but, here's and there's, but as a general rule of thumb, it's probably best to keep your private business private, which is why you end up with mostly, kind of this, what people think to be a superficial, phony version of people's lives. It's not. It's just the part that they're willing to share publicly. There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
All right. Imagine forgiving them. After 24 hours, you can do that. That's
And that takes a lot of work.
Yes, it does. Which it brings us to number 23 is practice empathy, because that's where ultimately all that comes from.
Try to walk in the other person's shoes.
Yeah, even if, you know, maybe they're late to their job because maybe someone cuts you off in traffic, right? And they're late to their job because they couldn't get their kids out of bed, and then there was a traffic jam on the way to school, and so they're just driving through. Or maybe they're just a pinhead. But, you know, you don't know. Let them go. Don't carry it around with you.
Don't let it ruin your day.
No, because, assume that they're driving like a, irresponsible person for a reason. Assume that they're in a hurry. Because if they're late again, they're going to get in trouble. And rather than adjusting their schedule, their boss is wagging fingers. So, so practice some empathy. Yes, and expressing yourself is different. It's properly expressing yourself, like you said, like we were talking about kind of at the beginning. It's perfectly fine to go back and, to shut up for a little while until you've got yourself under control is the wrong words, until you will respond in a way that is productive.
Well, I like to think of it as letting my emotions calm down.
Yeah.
Where I'm not all riled up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then the kind of the last one is to find a creative channel. That's
Painting, gardening, writing poetry.
Yeah, whatever your creative outlet is, and it could be anything, right? Your creative outlet's irrelevant. Maybe you just want to go work on the old clunker you've got in the backyard. It doesn't matter. Just go do something. Spend some time fiddling. Use that energy that's been dumped into you in some other form. And art is often where that's where artists get expression, right?
Yes.
If it wasn't for emotions, anger and love and heartbreak and all that, we wouldn't have art. So there's another. So that's actually an interesting philosophical question. Is it worth it? Oops. Is it worth the anger and, love and all of that? Is it worth what we pay, the price we pay? Is what we get out of it worth it? Would the world be better off without anger? But without anger, is there love? You only get mad about stuff because you care. So if you don't care, so if there's no anger, it means there's no caring. And what's the consequence of that? Anyway, what's next? What do we got there?
Well, it's 9:30.
It's 9:30 already?
Yeah.
All right. So, we've got... All right, well, helping your kids. Let's go to the kids one. We'll do the kids real quick. We'll shortchange the questions tonight.
All right.
Let's do the kids thing real quick.
Okay, first, you gotta let them know it's okay to be angry.
Yeah? There we go. That's an angry child right there. It's like the back in my day when there was this angry, we called it the angry German kid. He got mad because his game was taking too long to load, and then he died right immediately after the game loaded, and he was smashing his keyboard and everything. Became an internet sensation for a while. Poor kid had some anger issues. So.
You help them identify the source of their anger.
Yeah, so what is it? Is according to, oh man, I can't, Anna Diaz Zubida, I apologize for butchering any names that I butcher, a clinical child psychologist. Physical and or verbal aggression often becomes the first line of defense for a child who has difficulty coping with frustration or lacks the proper problem-solving skills to manage life's challenges, difficulties, or negative emotions. Because they're children, right? They don't have
They're new.
They haven't gone through this before, and we've all forgotten that we had to learn how to deal with it, how to manage our emotions. We all learned at some point, but because we learn organically, it's not something we learn in a classroom. We forget. We think we always knew how to manage our emotions, even though clearly some of us still can't. We've forgotten that. And so we kind of expect kids to know how to manage their emotions because we don't remember how to teach them. And so I think it's us, parents, grandparents, and, those with influence to help children and teenagers and young people learn to manage their emotions, because that's really the key. If they can learn to manage their emotions, the rest of life is easy, relatively speaking, because your emotions are what makes life difficult. It's your emotional response to situations that make it worse is kind of the key to life's disasters, right?
Sure.
It's not that life isn't easy. Life is never easy, but life becomes a disaster when you start piling bad choices upon bad choices. And that generally comes because you've lost some emotional control. You become caught up in emotions, for better or for worse. You stick with the wrong partner too long. You've got false loyalty to a job. You hop around too many partners, and the one that would really have been for you is long gone now. There's all kinds of potential ways that can work against you. Emotions can work against you. So learning to manage those and cope with those is the greatest gift we can give our children. All right, so 17 things. One is let kids know it's okay to feel angry, because it's okay. It's a feeling, right? You can't help it. It's okay to feel it. It's what you do with that feeling that matters. And help them learn how to identify their anger, where it comes from, what they're actually angry about.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not what you think it is, and so
sometimes the solution is pretty easy.
Yeah, once you figure out what you're actually angry about.
Yeah.
All right. Model healthy ways of dealing with angry feelings, so they can see how they do it. Right? They mimic you, especially if you're a good involved parent. Your children will try to mimic you, and so that's how they learn.
I have, with my girls, modeled it. Something would happen, and not connected to them, but I'm, that makes me so angry, right? I need to take a timeout. And I'd go put myself in a timeout. Which
brings us to number 4, is let kids know when you need to step away, so they know it's okay for them to do the same thing. And the most important part of that is you have to honor that need for them. If they need to step away, and so they can go get their anger under control, you need to allow them to. A lot of times, as parents, we take offense to children, expressing their anger in ways that we displease us, shall we say. But they're children. Of course they are.
Well, I had a teenager. She did the classic. If you look up your name if you look up the word bitch in dictionary, there's your picture.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but laugh. It didn't help.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, well,
I'm just like, and I love you. It's okay. You can be mad at me right now. It's all right.
It's all right to be mad at me. You're all good. Teach coping strategies when they're happy. So that's a good one. Talk about these things when, when you're just kind of doing things. Have organic conversations about it.
Teaching meditation is a good one.
Yep. Possible alternatives to expressing their anger. Right? So,
Offer choices.
yeah. So,
Ask them.
And here's actually the most important one. It's the last one. Show them you care. Because that's the fastest way to get someone through anger or frustration is that someone has heard them. It's that they've been heard. It doesn't even necessarily have to get their way, but they want to feel heard.
Yes.
And so often if they can at least feel heard, you can help them start to go down the other side and start to learn to control themselves. And so making your children feel heard is one of the most important things that you can, important gifts that you can give to your children. All right, Lovey. So, oh man, I went through all my drink already today. I was thirsty. All right, so what do we got on our questions of the day?
Well, we could start with relationships if you like.
Hey, wherever you want to go.
I, 24 female, told my partner, 31 male, that I cheated on him last week. We've been together for 8 years. We're engaged. It was online sex with a stranger. I tried to avoid any excuses or justifications when telling him just what happened, that I was really sorry, that I was something selfish, that I didn't take in consideration his feelings, that I didn't think of anything. He asked little to no questions. He lay there not facing me for 2 minutes, then got up and went to work in the backyard. I tried approaching him and just said, "Can we talk?" But he said no. He's passed by me a couple times looking for things and has seen me crying, but I haven't said anything more. What can I do to help him get over this?
You can't. Just let it go. Let it be its thing. One, because it really is going to depend on how he defines cheating. And he's probably trying to figure that out right now. So just let him figure it out. Because you said it was online, right? So
yeah, it was just online.
So, he may not necessarily end up defining that as cheating.
He's processing.
Yeah. Let him process. Other than that, there's not a whole lot you can do. There's just not. You're just going to have to kind of let him work his way through it. But what you might want to do in the meantime is actually figure out what the heck you were doing. You're 8 years, you're engaged, and now you're, I don't know. See, I personally wouldn't necessarily configure it cheating, but I can understand why it might find it disturbing. So.
Why would you? I would take a look at why you did that.
Yeah. And then, maybe it's not cheating, but maybe it's something you should have been more open about before you engaged in it. These type of things can be dealt with in a relationship if you deal with them. It's the not dealing with it is the problem. But, now my only suggestion now is to just kind of try to be as respectful for him needing his space right now as you can be. You want to do small gestures of kindness, make a sandwich and leave it for him on the counter or in the fridge or something like that. Those go a long way because it shows you're thinking without intruding. It shows a sign of respect while still, showing signs of reaching out. So if you want to do things like that, you could do that. But don't try anything overly grand or big or nothing. Just wait it out. Respect his need for space.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Me, 20, and my girlfriend, 21, have been together almost a year. She has been a crybaby about stuff, and I have always done things to be the best for her. sacrificing my own time, money, and relationships with other close persons of mine. But recently she has been worse. She got mad for stupid things, not waking up to text her good morning before she goes to class, and threatened to break up every single time. 3 times in 4 days, to be more specific. Every time she gets mad, I surprised her, brought her flowers, chocolate, went to her place, which is an hour from mine, just to come back to mine 40 minutes later, and so on. She even told me if I don't do exactly like she said, she is going to break up with me because she is the most beautiful girl and sacrifice is required. I love her a lot, but is she really worth it?
No. Because at this stage, she's trying to make you leave. She just doesn't want to be the one to do it. That would be my suggestion. She doesn't want to do it. It's a very immature way of breaking up, but you're 20, 21. That's my guess. Yeah, if you don't do exactly as I say I'm going to break up with you well, I don't want to be with you. I want to be with some strange
version of you.
Not even a version of you. I want you to be this sock puppet of mine. That's not you. I can't guarantee you that she wants to break up with you, but what I can say, she doesn't value the relationship, so it's probably time to move on. Because that's not a real relationship.
You sound like a great guy.
And there is a caveat to all that. She may have some issues, undiagnosed bipolar or depressives or some combination thereof or something, right? There could be some of that hidden in there. That outwardly, that we don't have enough information. So there is a caveat to that. And, yeah. But is it worth it is a question you have to decide. You're 20, she's 21. And if she's not looking for a solution to that part of her personality problem, then go find something that's going to make you happier.
Can you imagine raising children with this person?
So, yeah. You know, I've never wanted, even though we've been doing it a lot recently, I don't want to say, no, it's time to end a relationship, but some relationships have, big road signs that they're going to end at some point. And why waste the time once you see that sign? Once you see those signs, why waste the time?
Yeah.
At that point, you're just wasting time. You're 20.
Someone out there would appreciate you.
Yeah. It'll hurt for a while, but it'll be okay. Okay, next.
Male 24 and fiance, female 23, has a friend that tried to have sex with her and she still wants to be friends with her. I don't know how to feel or what to do.
Well, lots of people, men, women, and mix them up as you may, have friends who at one time or another wanted to have sex with them. It's not the end of the world. We're all adults at this stage. Once you hit 30s, lots of people have wanted to have sex with you, and you're just going to have to learn to accept it, right? It's just is what it is, and it just is what it is.
Thanks, but no thanks is a perfectly acceptable
and then you
thing. Can we be friends? And then you move past it, yeah.
Yeah, it just is what it is. We're humans, The desire for sexual relations is quite common, and if you have to cut everybody off that you've ever had an interest in, we'd all have very boring lives. So let it be. It's fine. It's not your friend you're actually having trouble trusting. Your fiance.
Ooh.
It's not her friend. And is your fiance trustworthy? Then you don't have a problem. So it's your insecurity, is my guess, since she's already said no. It's your insecurities, and don't pass your insecurities on to other people. Deal with them. Okay.
Okay. I, 24-year-old male, and my girlfriend, female, 21, have been dating for about a year now. I feel like I had a very heavy attachment style due to a variety of factors like being away from family and having less friends. Meanwhile, our school is in her hometown with her family and all of her friends. Because I loved her so much, I would always drop at moments' notice to do anything for her and was happy to do so because I love her. But I started feeling hurt when I didn't receive the same in return, so I stopped. She's asked me why I don't do those things anymore. What do I tell her?
Just what you told us. That's what you tell her. Now, the question is, you may have put unrealistic expectations on that side of the relationship. I mean, if you're asking for someone to behave the exact same way you are, you're not respecting who they are as a person. Now, maybe she's not giving enough. Maybe she is. I can't judge from here. But just because she's not doing the same type of things you are doesn't mean she's not giving enough. Just as, it goes to women. Just because they're not giving things the exact way you want doesn't mean men aren't giving. Doesn't mean they're not giving enough. It just means you're not seeing where it is.
Men do things like fix things for you.
Yeah, so but it works both ways, right?
That's their love language, making your life easier.
Yes, but we're talking, this is actually the shoes on the other foot. Maybe he's not hearing her love language.
Yes.
And so maybe you're looking in the wrong spot, is actually the question. But, talk to her. You know what you want to say, you just wrote it down. That's the conversation right there. And see where it goes. But my suggestion is to do a little introspection before you, so make sure you're not missing things she's doing for you that you're not noticing.
Yeah.
Until she stops. Anyway, okay, so why don't we skip down to some work for...
All right.
Okay, so what do we got?
I work in a freezer, and today I slipped on ice and fell and busted my hand and wrist up. It is swollen and bruised. My fingers feel numb, and I can't move my fingers from my wrist without pain shooting down my wrist. My employer kept having me rest and ice the injury and return to work and repeat. It's been about 16 hours since the injury, and I still cannot feel my fingers or move them or my wrist. My employer told me multiple times that it was only stoved, and if it was injured worse, there would be more swelling and bruising. It's like they did everything to avoid having my man medically treated. The pain is enough that Tylenol and ibuprofen won't take the edge away. What should I do?
Go to the doctor. That's a work injury, and you go to the doctor because your wrist is broken. Trust me, your wrist is broken. Go to see the doctor. That's it. There's no other questions, and you deal with and it's a work injury, and depending upon your state or country, I didn't know where this was, the laws there will deal with that. So.
Well, here in California, if you get hurt and you want to see the doctor and you ask to see the doctor, they have to let you see a doctor.
Yeah, and your doctor, but when you go to the doctor, your doctor will ask, was this at work? And you say yes, and then it goes down a whole different rabbit hole. So just go to the doctor. If you go to the emergency room, go to the emergency room and tell them it was a work injury.
You need an x-ray.
Yeah, because your wrist is broken. So, it's just your wrist is broken. Maybe your arm. So go to the doctor and go get your x-rays. Go take care of it is. Okay.
My mindset is, let's get this done so we can leave. My coworker's mindset is, we're here anyway, so I'm going to take my time. How do I shift to that mentality and stop picking up the slack?
Well, you can't. So you're never going to match those two mentalities, and that's actually the big job of management in the business, to hire a compatible crew, so you don't have that type of issue. So my question is, there is a question to that, right? Because do you get paid for the whole day if you're there? So if you finish early and get to go home and you're only paid for 6 hours, then the guy's just going to take his time, so he gets all his stuff done in 8 hours and he gets paid for his full day. Who's being smarter? Don't know. It's not but neither one of those is wrong, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's what it is. It's, you have an incompatible team, and maybe take longer breaks during the day or something. I don't know. Walk slower. I don't know. It's because you can't take money out of somebody else's pocket. So asking somebody to leave early, he may have family that depends on that income, those 2 hours, and he's not going to give them up. And why should he? And at the same time, you're someone who just wants to get your work done and get done and moved on. That's great. So your real task may be to find a place that has your work style rather than another one, or find some place that the work doesn't end. No matter how fast you work, there's always more. You come to take my job. There's always more work to do. No matter how much work I do, there's always more. So it's just going to have to live with it. Find some way to work at your pace whilst not doing other people's job. That's your task until you can find some place that fits your style.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. Because just find some place that fits your style. All right.
I got an email from my boss that's telling me and my coworkers to do first aid training, bakery. I don't have time for that because of online school, full-time work. Do I legally have to do it?
Maybe, but if it's required training, I think he has to pay you for it depending upon your state. So, ask about that. Is it paid training? Because, if it's a state like California, it may very well be mandatory, legally required training. And so, depending upon the size of the bakery, it may be, they may have to pay you, but maybe not, because sometimes California gives exemptions to small businesses. So, you'll just have to see. But my guess is you're probably just going to have to find some way to work it in. And that's just the way it is. That's the problem of adulthood, right? You sometimes have more to do than you have hours in the day. It's just the way it is sometimes. Yeah. Especially during those years when you're going to school. That's what you sacrifice when you go to school and work at the same time. That you sacrifice all the rest of your hours in the day. So you're just going to have to find some time. It probably doesn't take as long as you think it is. So it's probably basic first aid, CPR training. Probably takes a couple hours on a Saturday or something. Just go do it. It's not as big of a deal as you think it is. All right, so how much time we got? We got 10 minutes because we started late. All right.
How about some parenting questions?
All right, that sounds good for me.
My husband and I were raised in a very strict community where alcohol was prohibited. Now that we're adults, we've left and enjoy a drink now and then. We store alcohol up high, but it's not locked because our toddlers simply can't reach it. At what age do most start locking up alcohol?
I don't know. We didn't really keep alcohol in the house until they were old enough to drink, and they kept alcohol in the house. So
not a drinker, dude.
Yeah, we're asking the wrong question. I don't know.
But if you're concerned, I
Then you
guess
lock it up.
about 13,
Yeah.
15, 14.
Depending upon the child. Some children you probably never have to, and other children you might have to at 10. But my guess is 12, 13, 14. It is probably when you should start considering it, if you feel you must. Yeah. Of course, locking it up creates a taboo, means they think there's something special about it, so they're going to go try to.
Oh, and you might want to put a lock on there anyway if you have a babysitter coming over.
Yeah, so there's other reasons to lock it, but, or not, or maybe just don't keep so much alcohol in your house when your children are older. Evolve past that. Okay, where are we?
We're after an app that lets us track our daughter's periods, 3 girls. Are there any apps that will allow you to track multiple periods?
Probably, but you probably have to pay for them, I'm assuming. But why would you need to track your daughter's periods?
That's the big question. Why are you doing this?
Is there an actual reason for it?
Is there a medical reason?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to. I can't think of any. You raised 3 daughters. I've only raised 1, so I'm kind of ignorant in the ways of women and girls. But I can't think of a single reason why I would want to track my daughters.
I knew it was coming because they'd get all moody.
Yeah.
Moodier for a teenager.
No, I mean, now maybe there's some family history of issues, and so they want to be careful and need to track it. Okay, but I don't need why you need an app for that. I don't know. No, we don't know of an app for that, and the bigger question is we don't know why you need to do it other than some strange medical reason, which would be then you track it through your doctor's app, because your doctor would be tracking that kind of stuff. So you'd have the all doctors and stuff have apps now, so that you track it through that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, stop it. That's being creepy. That's my suggestion for that one. Don't do it. There. Don't track your daughter's periods. How's that?
That's private, dude.
Unless there's a specific medical reason, don't. There's my answer. How's that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
Okay. My mom, the grandmother of my 6-year-old son, is dating. She tends to want us all to meet the man she is dating when they're at the point where they are consistently dating or getting more serious, which happens pretty fast generally. And I feel uncomfortable with my son meeting them because I don't know how long they'll be around, and I don't want him to be attached and sad if he doesn't see them anymore. He's 6. For context, he has met 4 guys in those 6 years, but probably would only remember 2 of them. Would you allow your child to continue meeting their grandparents' dates?
Is there some is she choosing bad people, or is it just you're concerned about this number? There's nothing wrong with your child learning how to deal with sadness, learning how to deal with people coming in and out of his life. That's going to happen throughout the rest of his life. There's nothing wrong with him learning about it.
Yeah, it's not a boyfriend of the week. There were 4 in 6 years.
Yeah, and well, even if it is a boyfriend of the week, so what? It's a new friend. And if it's a boyfriend of the week, then so what? Then you're not going to get attached. And if he lasts, 6 months, 9 months, then there's nothing wrong with them getting quasi-attached. And then, feeling sad when he doesn't get to see him anymore. It's perfectly fine. It happens to all of us, all throughout our lives. You're not protecting him by protecting him from those feelings. You're not. You're preventing him from having a learning experience. Preventing him from learning about the world, learning about himself. And why would you want to do that? Now again, if she's bringing, ne'er-do-wells, that's a different issue. But that wasn't the question. It didn't, so I'm not going to assume that. He didn't say he's bringing bad quality people around. He's just saying that he's afraid it's too often. And no, there's nothing wrong. We've talked about it earlier about helping children, learn to manage their emotions. And sadness is an emotion. Anger is emotions. Happiness are emotions. And all of those are necessary in various forms, but they can also get out of hand. And learning to deal with that, learning to manage them, and also learning to not go too far, and to not crush your own emotions, and to be an emotionless creature, or to suppress your emotions. You have to experience them. You have to become one with them. You have to learn to live with them. Because that's when you can truly love yourself. And when you can truly love yourself, you can truly love those around you. And with that, me and Lubby want to thank you for being with us tonight. You can always find us at latenightLove.us. You can find us on Facebook at The Late Night Love. You can find us on all your podcast networks. But more importantly, you can find us, I don't know, what is that thing?
Ethers.
In the ethers. You can find us wherever you want to find us. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, share. You can send Lovey a love letter at love@latenightLove.us. And with that, good night. And please remember to love everybody.